What's up, everyone? Happy holidays. My name is TJ Zwarich. Welcome to another edition of FanDuel sponsored Crunch Time, joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. First up, Tasteful Tides, Tim Buell. How you doing?
I'm doing well, TJ. Yeah, we were just talking about, the slate tonight and how it's one of those another pretty tough pricing on DK this evening, and FanDuel is definitely a different story because there's more value over there. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge on DK to get up to the studs that we want, but I'm excited to break it down with you guys.
Hopefully we can help make people make some money in NBA, because for NFL today, it is no George Pickens, no cash, because he started the game with a 86-yard touchdown. As we are going onto the air here, he just caught another 66-yard touchdown. So if anybody played George Pickens at captain in Showdown DFS, I think you're going to be having a pretty good day. Join as well.
Sorry, but I was just going to say, and one other thing is Rozier just got ruled out, so make sure to get him out of your lineups.
There you go. And joined as well by Tay Bojangles, Taylor Smith. How you doing, Taylor?
I am good. Kind of a wild slate. 10 games is pretty high for what we've been dealing with lately, but should be fun.
Like Tim mentioned, we have a lot more value on our FanDuel sponsor FanDuel. And so that is where we're going to start. And you can not only play DFS over there, but you can play some bets as well. Bet $5 on any money line, get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. For new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Starting things off on FanDuel. Taylor, you are in charge of the core plays today. Why don't you give me a little bit of a breakdown of the slate, and then we can go position by position here.
So we've had some news, like that news just broke with Rozier being out. Still waiting on some stuff. DeJounte Murray is questionable for Atlanta. LeBron and AD are questionable for the Lakers. Technically, I doubt they're out as usual. Tari Eason, Karis LeVert, and Sam Merrill are three more guys we're waiting on. The Cavs news is pretty big. Obviously, they're already without several key pieces in that starting lineup. LeVert and Merrill would play a lot if they play. If not, it's going to be nothing but Craig Porter Jr., I assume, in the backcourt for them tonight. So lots we're still waiting on, but there's already been plenty of other news as well. I do have Craig Porter tagged on both sides. He's going to presumably start with Mitchell out for the Cavs. Should see plenty of minutes. His price came up, likely not enough. He's been quite good per minute with Garland, Mobley, and Mitchell on the bench this season. He's definitely a staple of your cash lineups. Luka Doncic is the other one that should be a staple. I didn't tag him only because it would have locked up both point guard slots, but I do think that's the right way to build in cash tonight. He will play after missing last night's game. Still no Kyrie. Much better matchup tonight for the Mavs against San Antonio than they had last night. One of the highest projections we've seen all year. I think you just cram him in as well at 12-5. Other point guard plays, Jordan Clarkson is the play of the day over there on FanDuel. He's 3-5. Clearly a misprice. He's missed a few weeks with a hamstring, but back tonight. Should see plenty of minutes. I think we had him around 30 when I looked earlier. They're still without Talen Horton-Tucker and Keontae George in that backcourt. So minutes
we ever
shouldn't be
seen a player before who their price is double on one site what it is on the other one?
I feel like we had a scenario kind of like this with Gordon Hayward a few years ago where he was like 3-5 on FanDuel or something like that, but it's quite absurd. I think you're playing him at shooting guard, though, on FanDuel, ideally. With Luka and Porter at point guard. Other shooting guard plays you can consider. Cole Anthony should be great again tonight with no Jalen Suggs, Fultz, or Joe Ingles for the Magic. They have a good matchup as well. OG Anunoby is a decent price on FanDuel for 5-6. The Raptors are playing the Jazz, which is a great matchup, of course, for them as well. Even on the back-to-back, don't mind that. Minute should be fine for him. Chris Dunn is still playable at 5-2. No THT and George, like I said. Even with Clarkson back, he should still be in the rotation. He's historically a pretty good per minute player as well. Sam Merrill is viable if he plays. Don't love it though. I think the other plays we mentioned are significantly stronger at guard. Shifting to small forward, and Anunoby is viable here. Both Magic options, Banchero and Wagner, very much in play as well. Against Indiana, should their usage with those guards missed from the lineup tonight. Sadiq Bey could see 40 minutes. DeAndre Hunter's out again tonight. We don't know about DeJounte Murray yet, but he could see more usage as well if Murray sits. I think Bey is a very good option in the mid-range tonight for Atlanta. Jalen Williams gets a decent usage boost with Josh Giddey out for the Thunder. Don't mind that at all in the mid-range as well. Jeremy Grant, Bojan Bogdanovic, not priorities, but also still viable. Power forward, Marvin Bagley, 5K flat on FanDuel. Don't love getting to Detroit ever, but starting with Duren out, averaging about a fantasy point per minute as well on the season. Same guys we've otherwise mentioned. Onyeka Okongwu is another option here. He officially will play after being questionable earlier. We've seen overlap between Okongwu and Capella in recent games. No Hunter should help him quite a bit, I would think. Pretty good value on him. And at center, Capella's in play. Nick Claxton is the guy popping into most lineups, even at 7-1. Detroit's just miserable. Minutes have been safe for Claxton of late, and I think you're kind of living in the mid-range at center tonight.
All right, Tim, hit me with some tournament pivots today. Let's start at the point guard position.
Yeah, so definitely, you're obviously playing Jordan Clarkson even in tournaments, either at your point guard, shooting guard, and then I really like Cole Anthony at 6,500. He's point guard, shooting guard also, so I would have him. Tournaments, small field, large field, have no issue with Anthony. I have never seen a median projection as high as Luka's 66.55 on FanDuel and over 70 on DK. So he is certainly somebody that I'm going to be jamming into my lineup, especially now that we have Clarkson, and now we might have Ish Smith too as a cheap guard. So it makes it even easier to jam in all these studs that we want. I think Ja Morant is really a strong play for tournaments. Going up against Atlanta, a fast-paced game. He busted at 60% owned in single entry tournaments last game. So I think that people may hesitate going back to him, especially with you got the guys like Luka and SGA that are, obviously higher price, and then you have the low range guys too. So I think there's a very good chance that Ja will get squeezed out in large field GPPs. He's showing up at 11% ownership, which is really not a lot for a guy with a ceiling as high as his. So I really like Ja today. And then I think Trae Young. I don't think have we got the Murray news yet?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, okay, well, either way, Murray's kind of, Young is kind of that same argument as Morant. He's projected for 4% ownership. He's showing up in optimals 9.5% of the time, so that's really good positive leverage on Trae Young. So I think those are quality spend up options. I'm going to just go over to shooting guard really quick. Same thing. You got to play Clarkson. So either way, point guard or shooting guard. I love OG Anunoby. Okay, so Murray just got listed available to play on Saturday. Okay, so he's in today. So Murray's in, but I still like Trae Young in GPPs. OG is definitely a strong play at shooting guard. Devin Vassell, I think, is like a little run back with Luka. I think it would be a strong play for tournaments. Spencer Dinwiddie at 7,200, and Mikal Bridges. Either one of those two. I think if you got to some Brooklyn pieces today against Detroit, I don't think they're going to get super steamed in terms of ownership. So I would definitely be into them. Andrew Wiggins is out.
Andrew Wiggins is out. There you go.
Yeah.
I love. I just wanted to say previously that before I forget, I love the Ja Morant call from the point guard position because I also wrote him up today in my tournament sleepers and top picks article. Absolutely love that call. This is almost as good of a matchup as it was against Indiana, and we all wanted to play him then.
Right. Yeah. Like anytime a guy busts is like ultra chalk, and then he gets like up even better matchup the next time, and his price hasn't gone up at all. Like I really like Morant for large field GPPs. Small forward, Bonchero and Wagner, 8K and 7,600. We talk about how good a matchup Atlanta is. Indiana's probably an even better one. So, and Bonchero kind of lands at that kind of like upper mid-range level that I think is going to get squeezed out. Like people are going to try to go like I think a little bit more stars and scrubs, especially on FanDuel where you have Clarkson. So I'm not sure really how much ownership guys like Bonchero and Franz Wagner are going to get. Jalen Williams, Len Williams, 6,700. I think he'd be a strong play. Scotty Barnes. People might be scared to pay that high for Scotty Barnes. I think this is a really, really good matchup for Toronto. So getting to Scotty Barnes, I think would be a strong play. And then Brandon Miller, with Rozier out, Brandon Miller is going to see, I think, a pretty sizable usage bump. So they've got no Ball, no Rozier. They're going to have Ish probably, running the point, and then it's going to be Miller taking the majority of the shots. So I think he gets a pretty big upgrade, and he is only 6,100 on FanDuel. Power forward, Okongwu, Taylor mentioned, I like him quite a bit. Wemby's up to 10 too. I don't think anyone's going to play him, but given the value that we have, you could go like a Luka Wemby game stack. Dallas is horrible defensively. Wemby's going to be less than 10% owned on FanDuel, so I think that's super interesting. Pascal Siakam, 8,500. I already mentioned how much I like Toronto today. I think Aaron Gordon this is a pretty good spot for him, and he's only 6,200. Overall, though, like I don't know, like I think optimally, you don't want to pay a bunch at the power forward position because I think it's one of the weaker positions. So I'm going to be trying to spend my money at point guard and center, mainly Jokic, who's 12-2, but I think you can play him on FanDuel pretty easily. If you want to get to a mid-range guy, Nick Claxton is definitely our best points per dollar play. He's also the highest owned center, which I'm not crazy about. I would rather almost pivot to like Chet Holmgren or Clint Capella if I'm in that range, just to get away from some of that ownership. But really, what I'd like to do is play Jokic.
I love the Victor Wembanyama call. That was the other thing I wrote up in my article, was a little bit of a Luka and Wemby stack. One of my absolute favorite things to do on tournaments, especially on FanDuel, where we have the Jordan Clarkson value. Let's pivot over to DraftKings here and start going position by position. Before we do so, though, I want to talk to you about the props and pick'em package we got going right now. Get access to the Roto-Grinders all-new props and pick'em package at a special holiday discount. Driven by the RG Premium Projections, our tool combs your favorite sportsbooks and fantasy pick'em sites to find you the best picks with the best odds. And for a limited time, you can get 50% off your first month by clicking the link in the description below from the video. Make sure you check that out. It's the holidays. It's 50% off. We got NBA, NFL, NHL all weekend long, all for the holidays. So tons and tons of available sports to do props and pick them on, and you got 50% off the package. Couldn't be a better time to do it. Taylor, on DraftKings, you have Craig Porter Jr. tagged. You got SGA tagged, where he's much cheaper here on FanDuel or on DraftKings, and we do not have the benefit of the wildly, stupidly cheap Jordan Clarkson. What we do have, though, is a semi-cheap at 11.7 Luka Doncic projected for over 70 points. So tell me, why are we going SGA over Luka and Cash today?
I actually updated the tag probably when you were
Cool.
doing your read to Luka instead of SGA.
There you go.
So I do think Luka's the right play at this point, though I do love SGA. He's really cheap on DK. I don't know why he's as cheap as he is, but OKC and the Lakers, that game has a high total and a tight spread. He gets a huge usage boost without Josh Giddey. So really happy to get to him wherever I can. But in cash, I think you just find the extra, 1,400 to get to Luka against San Antonio for the same reasons. He was a great play on FanDuel. Otherwise, again, Craig Porter here, easy play in cash. Cole Anthony, same thing. I think you're playing both of them. Dennis Schroeder pops in projections. He's never the most comfortable play. I'm not dying to play him, but I get it against the Jazz, 6,100, reasonable salary on him. Scotty Barnes is a great spend on DK, only 8,500. He's another guy that's clearly mispriced. Point guard or small forward, you can play him at. We do have some value with Charlotte between Ish and Nick Smith. I'm not putting in projection. They are cheap. Charlotte's missing obviously top 2 guards as well. I'm not, ideally I would not play them in cash, just because there's some uncertainty there, but they are viable if you must go that cheap. SGA mentioned Anthony Simons maybe more in tournaments than in cash, but I do think he's quite a good price at 8K on DK as well. Shooting guard Sam Merrill's fine if he plays. He's affordable. Again, Cleveland's down many guards tonight, potentially even more with he and LeVert still questionable. Brandon Miller, a guy I should have mentioned on FanDuel at 6-1. Great play on DK as well. Guard forward eligibility. Usage to go around there with the Hornets with Rozier and LaMelo Ball out. So I think he's a fine play in cash, even in a subpar matchup against Denver. The wing Jalen Williams is another great play over here. Reasonable salary with out for them. Anunoby's fine, not as good as he is on FanDuel, but still viable on DK for a few $100 more. Don't mind Vince Williams, kind of as the 5th starter for the Grizzlies. Another great matchup for them tonight. He's cheap. He's playing minutes. I think you can do that in cash if you need the savings. Kenrich Williams is a value that's kind of popping with Giddey out, but I'd rather not do that either. OKC has a lot of guys they can cycle through, even with Giddey out. I think that might be a bit too thin for cash, but he is cheap.
We got Jared
Pascal
Vanderbilt in the starting lineup for the Lakers.
Yeah,
I was gonna say something that's pretty weird, but I don't know
if he's gonna get 24 to 26 minutes. I think that's pretty interesting.
It sucks that he's center only, but yeah.
He's center. Is he center only on DK or center or both sites?
Center only on DK. I'm checking FanDuel right now.
Power forward on FanDuel.
How much is he on FanDuel?
3.8.
Yeah, so I think he's obviously a way stronger player on FanDuel. I would hate to use up a center position on him.
It's doable if you need it, but
yeah,
way more in play on FanDuel just because power forward kind of sucks overall.
All right. Speaking of, take me to power forward here on DraftKings.
Yeah, so Okongwu, you can play at power forward over here now, which is appealing. Minutes should be there for Atlanta with DeAndre Hunter out. Siakam's another Raptor you can go to here. Prefer Barnes if it's one or the other, but Siakam's perfectly fine. Banchero at power forward. Wembanyama's now power forward only, which is not great, but he's quite the appealing spend in that Mavs Spurs game if you have the funds. Trace Jackson Davis is kind of interesting. He's already been priced up, more so on FanDuel than on DK. He's 5K flat, playing pretty significant minutes off the bench for Golden State lately, at the expense of Kevon Looney. He's been quite productive per minute. I don't think he's the worst kind of mid-range cash play if you want to go there. And at center, it's Claxton again, popping over here against Detroit. Chet Holmgren is cheap on DK. Don't mind that at all either. And Jokic is in some lineups, but I think if you're paying up for Luka, you can't really get to Jokic with the lack of value.
And that'll do it for position by positions for cash. Tim, talk to me about your favorite tournament plays. And then we still got lots of time. We got time for QQs. So first, I'm going to be going to the Roto Grinders Discord live stream chat. Check out the Roto Grinders Discord for free, rotogrinders.com/Discord. I'll go to the live stream chat first for questions, but also make sure you check out that NHL Discord channel because Tim and the NHL guys are always popping over there, helping us win lots of money. And then, of course, I'll be going to YouTube for QQ second, but I need you guys to smash that like button. We got almost 300 people watching and 25 likes. Are you kidding me? That's terrible. Smash the like button. It helps us. Our sponsors like it. It keeps us getting lots and lots of shows here for you. Helps us battle the YouTube algorithm. Please smash that like button. It's nice and easy. All you got to do is give it a little click. You're watching on your phone. You click hide chat. Then the like button pops up. You click it. You can pull the chat back up. Tim, who you liking today in tournaments?
Yeah, well, I mean, Luka does have a 70-point median projection, so I clearly like Luka. But I also, like I said before on FanDuel, Morant is projected for 1% ownership, even lower than he was on FanDuel. So I love him at 9,700. It seems as if we have updated Charlotte. We're giving Ish 28 minutes and right around 20 DK points. Probably not a play for large field tournaments, but I think small field, if you need the savings, I think you could go there. I really like Dennis Schroeder tonight. I'm not a fan of that ownership, though. A little bit disappointed. He's going to be very popular. Cole Anthony, quite a bit too. Like on DK, it's harder to go double studs, in my opinion. So you're kind of looking at like a one stud and then a whole bunch of like mid-range guys. On FanDuel, it's incredibly easy to go two studs, in my opinion. Craig Porter, 5,700. He's fine. He's priced up, and it is the worst game environment on the entire slate. So I'm not really that in love with it. I would rather just spend the 400 or 700 more for Schroeder or Anthony. Shooting guard. Cole Anthony, obviously great play. Brandon Miller at 6,300 did get a pretty good bump. We have him projected for 35 minutes and 31 DK points. So he's going to rate up pretty strong. OG Anunoby, 61. I absolutely love that. Sam Merrill, if he plays, I think Taylor mentioned him. Like we're pretty short on value on DK. And so like if LeVert were to miss or something like that, like Merrill would be a really, really strong play. So I like him, especially if LeVert misses. I really like Spencer Dinwiddie at 7,300. Getting to some Brooklyn pieces, I think, is a good strategy in all formats. Small forward, Scotty Barnes. He's your top option if you can get there. I think if you want to go a little bit lower, Mikal Bridges at 7,400, again, getting to some of this Brooklyn stuff, I think is pretty awesome. Franz Wagner, 7,800 in that Pacers matchup that we talked about quite a bit. Trying to think. And Jalen Williams for Oakland at 6,400. Power forward. Yeah, Victor Wemby is 9,200. He's really easy to get to on DK. He's still way too cheap on DK. So 9,200, I think, is a strong play. Pascal Siakam, I think, is way too cheap on DK at 7,900. I think he's viable in all formats. I think he has a big ceiling at that price tag. And he's only 17% owned. So it's not like his ownership is like completely out of hand. I've talked about getting to some Denver pieces. I really like Aaron Gordon at 6,100. And then, like I said, at small forward, Mikal Bridges, I absolutely love as well. And then center, it's pretty much the same as FanDuel. Jokic is my preferred play, but it's pretty hard to do double studs. So you really got to make a choice between Luka and Jokic, and my choice would be Luka. So I got to save some at center. Nick Claxton at 6,600 probably rates out the best. Again, he is going to be the highest owned. So if you want to pivot, you can go to like an Ayton or a Capella, or you could even play Siakam at center too. So I think all those guys are very, very strong pivots away from Claxton.
A lot of time left, 14 minutes till lock. J3, I see you in the YouTube chat asking if we can have a feel it in your plums play if we get a certain amount of likes. I'll tell you what, we get 75 likes. We can do a feel it in your plums play, even though there's no Butthole, there's no Chop, there's no Kirk Dees, there's no Kyle. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because if we get enough likes, I don't give a damn. We'll do any kind of play you guys want to do. But we will start by hitting some QQs. Like I said, first going to the Roto Grinders Discord chat, followed by YouTube. NBA DFS asked for FanDuel Cash Taylor, Cole Anthony and Brandon Miller, or Chris Dunn and Franz Wagner.
I like the first one.
All right, scrolling up in YouTube here. Tim, how many studs you going with in a FanDuel single entry today?
I think you can easily do 2. Like no issue at all.
I just threw a FanDuel team together for the first time in a while live on the show, and I ended up with Doncic and Wemby as my studs, and then my next most expensive player in that lineup is an 8K Paolo Banchero, and I still got a 7K guy too. So I think you can do 2 big spend ups and then 2 kind of mid-range ones to go with the cheapies. In a small field GPP, Tim, who are your favorite studs?
I think you could play Luka and Jokic together. It's very easy to do, so they are my favorite.
Taylor, do you got any clarity on what Orlando is doing with their big men? You got Wendell Carter Jr. back, but really not playing many minutes, which is kind of odd considering it was a hand injury.
Yeah, it was unfortunate because I was playing him his first 2 games back. He's still only 5'4", so it's not the worst roll of the dice. I mean, he's going to get more minutes eventually. It could be tonight. I'd rather buy low on him now than wait for him to get more expensive and more popular. So I don't think that's a bad play in tournaments at all.
What do we have Derek Jones Jr. projected for minutes tonight? Obviously, he didn't play much in a blowout yesterday, but today we got him projected to start and play 32 minutes. Is anyone playing Colin Sexton? Tim, what do you think about Sexton in tournaments?
I know that Horton Tucker's out, but with Clarkson back, I'm not really that enthused by it. He's 7,900. He's too expensive now. And I don't think he's going to start. He's only projected for 28 minutes. That's a pass for me.
Give me your thoughts on Jakob Poeltl, because I see you answered that one as well. No to Jakob Poeltl on FanDuel unless you absolutely have to. It's a solid matchup. Why no Poeltl today?
I think the opportunity cost at center is pretty significant, and I'm not just talking about Jokic. So I know that he's a salary saver, but I'd rather just get up to these pieces that I think have way more solid floors and ceilings.
I like it. Tim, Taylor, what do you think about Ish Smith on FanDuel Cash?
Let's see what his price is. 38. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think he's fine as a last piece type thing.
Is Bruce Brown out? Yes, Bruce Brown is out.
Nemhard starting. I don't think he's a bad punt either for both guard spots.
He is 4,300 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, and he is 4,200 on FanDuel. Tim, is Trace Jackson Davis viable in single entry for DraftKings?
100%. I like him quite a bit.
All right, I'll double check, see if we got anything left in the Roto Grinders Discord. We do not. What are we supposed to do here, gentlemen? We are 9 minutes before lock, and we got no more QQs. It's the holidays. We don't got enough people watching.
And, yeah, Nembhard, they just updated Nembhard. He looks very strong on FanDuel. I haven't checked what he looks like on DK yet.
He looks good. I think he's
He
fine in
does.
most all
28
formats.
minutes, 23 fantasy points. Is he cash viable, do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, I think he is, just because value's fleeting. We have Vanderbilt at 24 minutes, but he's still not popping in projections at all. He's just a no usage guy, lots of rebounds, that kind of thing. I don't think he's a bad play though, especially like we said on FanDuel. But center only on DK is hard to justify. But I'd still get him into the tournament player pool, I think, over there.
For what it's worth.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I like Nembhard in cash over Ish. If anyone's kind of like considering that, I like Nembhard over Ish.
Here's a potential thing I could see people landing on and wondering: would you rather go Nembhard and Franz Wagner or Ish and Paolo Banchero?
I think the first one is
still
slightly
think
better.
I still think the first one's a little bit better.
I just don't trust Ish Smith at all. Like, not that I really trust Nembhard either, but it feels slightly safer to go with Nembhard, I think.
Oh, here's another interesting thing that people might wind up on just through the positional eligibility: Vanderbilt or Ish Smith.
In cash,
I'd go Ish.
Yeah, tournaments though, I do think Vanderbilt is interesting.
All right, so then I'm assuming it would definitely be Nembhard over Vanderbilt. Then, TJ, could you go over some of your favorite plays and strategies on FanDuel? I think if I did, I would be giving you a disservice, Flying Armbar. I haven't looked through that today. I'm just on the hosting and producing duty, not on the analyst side of things. So I didn't give it as good of a look through as I usually do. Tim and Taylor are definitely your guys for that. So I would definitely just keep in mind the things that they said they're doing for FanDuel. TJ, which Raptors on DK do you got? Scotty Barnes is definitely my favorite. Number 2 would be Pascal Siakam. Number 3 would be Dennis Schroeder. TJ can tell us some Canadian holidays anecdotes or show us Shadow. Shadow is, I don't know where he is right now, but Sonic just popped into the room. Oh, I'm going to move my computer. And sometimes when that happens, my mic unplugs. So if my mic unplugs, you guys are going to have to be ready to ramble. But here's Sonic. He just popped into the room. There we go. He came in to say hello, but Shadow, I'm not too sure where he is. I'm not gonna read that one on air, Hammer, but you almost got me. You started. It was a joke about Santa, so I thought I was gonna be in the clear, but you're not getting me to read that one on air. I think Canada has Krampus, if I remember correctly. No, that's Eastern Europe. That's not Canada. Very different places of the world. But that'll do it for the YouTube questions. Pivoting back to the Discord chat. I like the rest of my lineup. Taylor, is Jonathan Kuminga okay as a last piece in cash without Wiggins?
I think he is. The minutes are a little scary, but they should be a little safer with Wiggins out. He was quite good last night. It's a good matchup. I am okay with that.
All right. Well, with it being the holidays and that being it for QQs, I think we're going to get out of here a little bit early. But before we do, if you're playing some NFL tonight, we do still have, I'm going to be honest, I didn't have George Pickens, so my early stuff is burned. But we do still have a late night showdown game. So if you're playing lineups for the showdown game, make sure you check out SimLabs. You can use SimLabs to generate DFS lineups through the power of simulation. It combines data from every aspect of the slate to churn out lineups that match your preferences. In just a few clicks, you can have hundreds of well-built, correlated lineups ready to go for whatever contest type you're playing. Be sure to check out the link in our description for more info. All Combo and NFL subscribers currently have access to the NFL SimLabs tool. Make sure you check that out. Precious Achua or Trace Jackson, definitely the Trace Jackson one. Happy holidays to everyone who tuned in. We're still going to be back on for NFL content tomorrow. So we got normal Sunday NFL content in the morning. Tim will be back for the Grinders Live People Show with Bobby and Dean. I'll be back on there for crunch time. And then, of course, we got the pre-lock crew Sunday night. Chief and I ready to break down the Sunday night football game as well. No content Christmas Day. Even the NBA and the NFL is spread out, so it would have been tough to time shows. And so we're just going no content Christmas Day. Yes, written content, no video content. So we'll still be lots of written stuff up at rotogrinders.com, but no videos. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Happy holidays on behalf of myself, Tim, Taylor, and the RotoGrinders team. Happy holidays. We will see you tomorrow. Peace.